Chris Grosso claimed the Daytona 500 back in February, but tonight is different. Shorter distance, summer weather, and of course the luck of Daytona. Welcome to the iRacing Drivers World 90 at Daytona International Speedway for round 17 of the Lazy Days Cup Series, brought to you live on PBR Broadcasting. Last week these guys were at the road course of Sonoma, where they put on a pretty good show, with Keith Maioto taking the win and ownership of the most wins this year with 4. Right behind him in that category is the Daytona 500 winner Chris Grosso with 3. So first, let's take a look at last week's PBR bonus points winners. And that was Keith Maioto claimed 3 points last week with a race win, most laps led, and leading a lap. Chris Grosso and Lupe Gonzalez were also bonus points winners, both earning 1 point for leading a lap. So with these guys still in warm-up, 5 minutes left in warm-up, we'll take a look at how the track looks tonight. Now we're going to take a look at Daytona, how it looks, and what these guys are going to be watching on the track tonight. Opened in 1959, repaved in 1978 and 2010. This 2.5 mile super speedway will have 31 degree turns with 18 degrees in the trioval and 2 degrees on the backstretch. Tonight's race will equate to 225 miles for 90 laps, just over 50% of the NASCAR distance. Now let's take a look at the Lazy Days Racing Cup Series Championship and how that sits right now. Chris Grosso takes over the lead, but his lead is very small with only a 2-point gap. Seth Hatchell tried everything he could to retain his lead, pulling in the top 5 last week, but Chris Grosso was able to finish 1 spot ahead and claim a bonus point to gain. Actually, he finished 2 spots ahead and claimed a bonus point to take over that lead. Adam Baker had a solid finish last week at Sonoma, allowing him to partially close the gap between him and Seth Hatchell, as he is now 31 points back. David Howard Jr. has had some success recently, but he still has a mountain to climb, being 84 points back. Good news for him, come chase time, that's all wiped away. Chris Grosso cracks into the top 5 after his 12th place finish last week. Now we do have some other things to look at before we go racing here tonight, and one of those things is the team battle that has come to be over the season, and we'll take a look at that right now. MB Motorsports leads the charge with 1,135 points, and Seth Hatchell is leading that team with points scored for the team. GAC Racing currently sits in second, 67 points behind, and Keith Maioto will lead GAC into Daytona. SoMO Racing is currently third, 300 points behind, and owner Paul Zoda is leading the charge for SoMO Racing. Pippola Davidson Racing had a major announcement just recently. Shane Pippola leaving for MB Motorsports. This, of course, will change how the team picture looks next week, but currently the team is running in 4th. And Fury Motorsports will round out the top 5 in team standings right now, with the 2-car team of Joe Owen and Ivan Jones currently running 5th, 495 points behind MB Motorsports. We'll see if we can find a car out on the track. It does look like Chris Grosso is coming on the track. Shane Pippola, who was on SoMO Garage this past week, talking about his experience with the 41 team of Kurt Busch running in NASCAR. He is the front tire changer. He was on SoMO talking about his experience with the Daytona 500 and that team's win there. So great to hear from Shane, and it's great to see him out here driving today at Daytona. So with just about 1 minute left in practice, we'll go ahead and step away for tonight's national anthem.
Guys.
And now for the most famous words in motorsports. Gentlemen, start your engine!
And these guys have just switched to qualifying. They will be going out. They will get 3 laps around tonight before they are required to bring it in. And it does look like we will have closed solo qualifying. So these guys will definitely have to get their fastest lap. We'll see a lot of guys take that high line for their first lap here tonight and then bring it down to the bottom for that second and third lap. Maybe even go to the outside twice and then come down. We do have our first times starting now as the guys will take their first laps around. And we are still waiting for that first time to come in. Mark McFadden out there, Stephen Burnett, Timothy Lewis, Seth Hatchell, Joe Mitchell, Joe Owen, Justin Rogers, Chris Samar, Justin Kern, Adam Baker, Jim Locking, Jeff Glockner, Bob Skinner, Lynn McNeese, Chris Grosso, and Keith Mayato. All on the track trying to get a time in. And it does look like we have our first times coming in. As Jim Locking will take the pole for the moment, but they will have more times to come and more laps to run. And Jim Locking currently holding on to that top spot. Adam Baker second, Bob Skinner third, Mark McFadden fourth, and Justin Kern sits in fifth. And it does look like we have lap 2 coming in. Bob Skinner will take over that pole. Jeff Glockner in second, and Jim Locking moves back to third. And Bob Skinner may have ran his laps as he's pulling it off the track, it looks like. Excuse me, that is Mark McFadden. Chris Samard now taking over the top time, with Keith Mayato in second, Timothy Lewis third, Stephen Burnett fourth, and Justin Kern in fifth. It looks like mostly everybody has finished qualifying. You have a couple drivers still out on the track. And qualifying will wrap up. We'll go to the grid here. And it will be Chris Samard taking the pole here tonight. All right, as these guys start to line up. Let's see here. Going to take a look at the starting grid for tonight. Starting on the pole will be Chris Samard of GAC Racing. On the outside of him, another teammate from GAC Racing, Keith Mayato. Joe Mitchell of MB Motorsports will start third. Timothy Lewis of Diamond State Racing will start fourth. Stephen Burnett of Max Rev Motorsports and teammate Justin Kern of Max Rev Motorsports will start fifth and sixth. Adam Baker of MB Motorsports will start seventh, and Justin Rogers of GAC Racing will start eighth. Seth Hatchell of MB Motorsports will start ninth. Joe Owen of Fury Motorsports will start 10th. Lynn McNeese of GAC Racing will start 11th. Jeff Glockner of SoMO Racing will start 12th. Jim Locking of GAC Racing will start 13th. Bob Skinner of Mayhem Motorsports will start 14th. Mark McFadden of GAC Racing will start 15th. And Johnny Michaelchek will start 16th of No Excuses Racing. Chris Grosso of Lazy Days Racing will start 17th tonight. David Howard Jr. of Diamond State Racing will start 18th. Jeff Sharp, a free agent, will start 19th tonight. Shane Pippola, formerly of Pippola Davidson Racing, now of MB Motorsports, will start 20th. Kurt Davidson, former teammate of Shane Pippola and Pippola Davidson Racing, will start 21st. Brian Neff, another free agent, will start 22nd. David Gainforth of GAC Racing will start 23rd. Paul Cohen of GAC Racing will start 24th. And Paul Zota will round out your field in 25th, racing for SoMO Racing. And the pace car getting ready to dip down into pit road. There it goes. Chris Samard will bring us to the line. Green flag is out. We're here racing at the iRacing Drivers World 90 laps of action here at Daytona International Speedway. So Chris Samard really early out to a Nice lead. He's got that line formed on the bottom with the 18 of Joe Mitchell right behind him. And that is the 09 of Keith Mayato on top with the 4 of Timothy Lewis of Diamond State Racing on the top side. So it looks like more drivers are filing down to that bottom line. We do have 6 drivers still on that top line, but they are pretty spread out. We'll see if they can get a run, but right now it is the bottom line dominating the race. Chris Samard still out front, and that top line has faded. They are dropping back quick, trying to find a place in that bottom line, and that looks like it is Johnny Michaelchek finding his way down there. Same with Jeff Glockner, able to find a gap and take their place in the bottom line. 4 cars remain on that top side. So lap 3 here tonight, Chris Amard has led both laps as he has been able to dominate on that bottom line. It's tough to get that top line running, especially when guys are dropping down early. And the top line's going to lose another one. That looked to be the 88 of Jeff Glockner. Or excuse me, that might have been the 21 of Justin Rogers. As we're looking to see who the 3rd car on that top line is. Right now, Keith Mayato, the 4 of Timothy Lewis. And I'm not quite sure who is on that next line out there. See if we can get a check to see who it is. We're looking through the field. It is the 21 of Justin Rogers who's still stuck on the outside as he has lost the draft. He is getting trained by most of the pack on that bottom line right now. Go back up front as it's now down to 1 car stuck out on the outside up front. That is the 4 of Timothy Lewis, I believe. And then, it's the 09 of Keith Mayato who is stuck on that high line, trying to find his spot and get down. And he will cycle into the field. So that'll leave, I believe it was a 21 of Justin Rogers who has filed all the way to the back of the pack. As the only car in there, he goes into the line. So we are single file through the whole field right now with Chris Samard leading the pack. And as always, with Chris Samard leading a lap here tonight, he has gained a PBR bonus point that'll be added to his championship run in the point standings. Chris Samard is still up front, leading the charge still. And he hasn't really looked back since the start of this race here tonight. It's early in the race, but the mix-up at the beginning of the race has definitely changed the field. Let's take a look at where everybody, or let's take a look at the top 5 right now. And you see your biggest mover in that top 5 is actually a tie right now between Stephen Burnett, Justin Kern, and Adam Baker, as they have all moved up 2 spots within the top 5. And it looks like we may have a mix-up at the back of the field as Jeff Sharp down on the apron. And he's going to let the whole field mix through as we're starting to get an outside line on, or out in the back of the pack. Jeff Sharp has lost the draft. But right now we got side-by-side racing back here. And I want to say it starts with the 7 of David Howard Jr. in 17th. And right now, Johnny Michaelchek starting to fall back into that pack as well. We're starting to get 2-pack racing. And right now, this pack doesn't include Johnny Michaelchek, who's going to get caught up to real quick. David Howard Jr., Paul Cohen, Kurt Davidson, Paul Zoda, Shane Pippola, Justin Rogers, David Gainforth, all in that pack. And Jeff Sharp is, of course, off the pace behind them. We'll go back up front, though, as Chris Samard now coming to his 10th lap lead here tonight. And I think tonight we are going to see a lot of passes, mainly on pit road, as you see even in the back of the pack right now. We're seeing that outside line not really form and work very well, with Kurt Davidson and Shane Pippola in trouble trying to work together. Last time they are working together as a team. And they will cycle back to 22nd and 23rd now. Of course, that pack is led by the 08 of Johnny Michaelchek. Go back to the front pack. We do have one on the outside. That is, looks like the 24 of Joe Owen was peeking out there. He's not going to get the run he quite wants. He's going to drop it right back in front of the 09 of Keith Mayato. Joe currently sitting in that 8th position. Oh, and we do have a wreck. That is, I believe that was the 91 of Jim Locking, as he is still spinning. So, with our first caution of the night, let's take a look to see what happened. Oh, that was the wrong replay, but let's take a look real quick. Take one more step back. It looks like he might have gotten clipped. And he goes for a ride. Not sure how many cars weren't involved in that one. Take one more look. That was the 67 of Mark McFadden, one of Jim Locking's teammates. Clips him into the corner and sends Jim Locking for a ride. We can get back to Jim, who's still spinning back there. So he will come to a park and have to get towed back to the pits. As Chris Samard still leading up front here tonight. And it does look like Jim Locking has taken his car behind the wall. So our first pit stops now. Who will come off pit road first? It'll be important, as this is where you're going to get a lot of passes. Do you take 2? Do you take 4? Let's see who takes 4 and who's off pit road quick. And it does look like the 77 is going to take 2. And looks like the 5 of Stephen Burnett will move into second. Justin Kern in third. Adam Baker falling all the way back to 9th. Seth Hatchell up to 4th. And Joe Mitchell will come out in second. Who came out in 5th? Actually, it's Joe Mitchell who comes out in 5th. And you see who took 4 and who took 2. Usually if they are between 7 and 8 seconds, that is 2 tires. 14 seconds is the 4 tires. Cycle through pit stops here to see who else was a big mover. Bob Skinner moves up to 6th from 11th. He was a 2 tire taker. Jeff Glockner with a long pit stop, 28.2 seconds. And Shane Pipple, I'm not sure if he even took tires. Showing a .77. That may be incorrect, but he is currently sitting in 21st. So let's get a word. Let's see if Chris Samard is currently, he is in here. Let's see if we can pull him into the booth and see how he thinks the track is going here tonight. Chris Samard, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Hey, it's Stephen Parks up in the PBR broadcasting booth. We see you out there leading some laps. How's the car feeling for you tonight?
It's good. I enjoy being out front. That's the best place to be. So it does get a little tight off the corner, but all in all, I'm enjoying myself.
Now, I'm not sure if you've had any practice on the night track since February, but have you noticed that top line being able to compete with you at all?
Not yet. Even with help, the top line just doesn't come in. Maybe with worn tires, but I haven't seen it yet. Unless, if you're saving gas out front, maybe someone can get a run. But if you're wide open, I don't think you can get a run on the outside.
All right. Well, I do see you guys have 1 to go, so good luck to you, and we hope to speak to you later on tonight.
All right. Thank you.
That is Chris Samard, who has started on the pole tonight, led every single lap, still up front. So we are getting ready to come to lap 17 as the pace car will be getting ready to dip down onto pit road. Pace car dipping down. Chris Samard, bring him to the line. Green flag is out. We're back to racing here at the iRacing World 90 at Daytona International Speedway, and Stephen Burnett off to a great start there. And it looks like the 77 of Chris Samard maybe didn't get quite a run as he was expecting. The 2 of Justin Kern, who is the 5's teammate, kind of laid off on the start. And the 8 of Seth Hatchell right on the back bumper of Stephen Burnett. And now we're seeing the 8 drop down to the bottom line, leaving Stephen on the outside. And we are already seeing that top line dissolve quickly as Burnett now down to the bottom behind his teammate Justin Kern. And that'll leave the 82 of Bob Skinner and the front of the outside pack with the 84 of Lynn McNeese and the 09 of Keith Mayato. Take a look at this top line right now as they run. And looks like they are starting to fall back already. So they need to get down to that bottom line as quick as they can. Or we might see Keith Mayato being cycled to the back of the pack again. So we do have some changes in the top 5 after those pit stops. Let's take a look. And right now your biggest mover in that top 5 looks to be Seth Hatchell, it looks like. He's gone from 9th to 4th, trying to reclaim his championship here tonight. And right now, if you were to count it as checkered flag right here, coming to lap 20, it would be Seth Hatchell in the lead in that points championship by, let's see if we can get a count here really quick. It would be by roughly 8 points, I believe. No, it would be by 6 points. It does look like we have cycled into a single file line again. Mark McFadden dropped off the pace. I think he was stuck on the outside for a while. And Jeff Glockner sitting on pit road. But Chris Lamar with 20 laps led. He only needs 45 to claim that most laps led PBR bonus point. And we do have one other driver stuck on the outside. That is the 99 of Paul Zoda. As he is side by side with the 08 of Johnny Michaelchek and the 49 of Jeff Sharp. And now Johnny going to the outside trying to get a draft going with the 99. As they are going to catch up to the 7 of David Howard Jr. And it looks like David Howard Jr. is going to take to the outside line. Seven thinking about going back down to the bottom line, but he will stay outside and try to get a run going with these guys. And Chris Amard was going to bring it way out to the top side and drop it back low. It looked like we might have one taker. That was the 4 of Timothy Lewis. He did not stay on that top line though. And we are seeing that top line right now start to get shuffled back with Jeff Sharp now passing the 08 of Johnny Michaelchek. And we do have one more ticker to that top line. It is the 4. He keeps peeking out there and dropping back in behind Joe Owen. As you see all these guys right now fighting for the air to try to cool down their cars. 24 of Joe Owen will peek out to that top line and stay out there as he's trying to make the run on the 48 and the 18. As we're starting to get an outside line rolling here. And I would be tempted to say right now the outside line may have more speed and more cars on that top side as opposed to the inside line. As we are seeing Joe Owen move up to 4th. He's got the 48 of Adam Baker behind him, the 4 of Timothy Lewis, and the 82 of Bob Skinner. And we do have one wreck. We got a car spinning. I believe that is Shane Pibula. As caution is out, let's take a look to see what happened to Shane. Oh, and he got clipped by his teammate Kurt Davidson. See if we can take one more look at that. A little bit of a checkup coming out of the corner. Kurt Davidson just gets loose and clips Shane Pippola into the wall. So that'll leave Chris Samard still up front leading this race. We'll see if these guys do come back down pit road. And it does look like almost everybody coming down pit road, getting some tires, fueling their cars up. As we might have only had half the pack go down, stay out. And it is Chris Samard off quick again. But it is not Chris Samard up front. Kurt Davidson, who was actually involved in that last caution, elected to stay out on the track. But back in 10th is Joe Owen. He had an amazing run just before that caution. Let's see if we can get a word in with Joe Owen. Joe Owen, you got a copy?
Yes, I do, Mr. Park. How you doing?
Pretty good. Well, it looked like you were doing pretty good out there on that outside line. Were you finding some success out there?
Oh, yeah. I just sitting back ratting and enjoying it. And whenever they started checking up real bad, I went on and decided to go ahead and try to make a run for it. So it feels pretty good out there.
Now, do you see yourself kind of sticking to the bottom again here, or do you want to try that outside line once again?
I'm going to stay here on the bottom. If I'm starting on the inside again, I'll stay down here for a little bit, and then somebody want to go with me, we're going to go to the front, try to put this Wrangler Chevrolet up there.
All right, well, we hope to speak to you later on tonight. Good luck to you, and stay safe.
All right, buddy, appreciate it.
Joe Owen, the 24 Wrangler Chevy driver, who is currently sitting 10th. We saw him all the way up to 3rd before that caution. So it does look like we have a couple drivers on pit road right now. Mark McFadden, Jeff Sharp taking his stop Shane Pippola also on pit road. David Gainforth coming on right now. Kurt Davidson, though, if you want to give a BZ Designs Hard Charger Award right now, that is Kurt Davidson. 21st, the first, only one lap led. He will also gain the PBR bonus point here, as he's going to get his first lap led, coming around to take his second lap. We'll see if he does stay out once again. And he might have to, because I believe pits will be closed for the lead lap drivers. So Kurt's staying out. Doesn't have many laps on those tires, but he'll be a little bit shorter on fuel if they were to get a long run here. Somebody else we haven't spoke a lot about tonight, 48 of Adam Baker, who was pushing Joe Owen up to the front earlier, currently sits in third. And then right behind him, you have Timothy Lewis and Stephen Burnett. Coming on to the backstretch right now, getting ready to go back to green flag racing. 29 laps, or we'll be coming to lap 29 as soon as we go back green. And coming off pit road there was the 21 of Justin Rogers, I believe. Yes, there he is at the back of the field. And David Gainforth making his way to get back on the lead lap. I believe he was the lucky dog. But we'll go up front right now, because we're getting ready to go back green flag racing here at Daytona. 2 cautions, 28 laps, coming to 29 laps, and we have a new leader for the first time here tonight. Pace car dipping down, green flag getting ready to come out. There is the green flag, Kurt Davidson bringing him to the line. Will he get the lap led? It does look like it. He will get his 3rd lap led here tonight, putting on a show for the fans. And Chris Samard's going to push hard on that outside line, try to make it work early. He's going to go side by side into 1 and 2. And the line is starting to die. Let's see if Chris can stay up there, as now the 48 of Adam Baker trying to make a push in 3rd up to 2nd. And Adam Baker currently showing as 2nd. We'll see if he can hold on to it for the moment. And that top line is struggling early. The 2 of Justin Kern up in 3rd, or up in 5th right now. Teammate Stephen Burnett stuck on the high side. 7 of David Howard Jr. moving to the bottom. And it looks like Justin Kern may be trying to open up a gap for the 5 of Stephen Burnett. No, he is going to go to the high line, hook on to the back of Stephen Burnett. They're trying to make a run on that high side. 2 cars in the bottom line are alone. Chris Samard goes to the high side, trying to get the pass. And it will be Chris Samard coming to the line, trying to lead his 26th lap. It will be Kurt Davidson, though, holding on for his 5th lap led here tonight. And now Chris Samard is almost cleared of Kurt Davidson. We'll see if he drops to the bottom early. Justin Kern struggling to stay on the back of the 5 of Stephen Burnett. And it does look like 2 cars clear. That is Timothy Lewis and Chris Samard to the front. If you want to look at team implications right now, it is GAC Racing in first. And then you have Diamond State Racing second, Kurt Davidson of Pippola Davidson Racing in third, Baker of MB Motorsports in fourth, and rounding out your top 5 is another Diamond State Racing member, David Howard Jr. So a third of the way through this race here tonight, and Chris Samard back up front leading 27 laps here on lap 33 of 90. And we have once again gone single file. David Gainforth is off the pace, as I'm not sure if he even caught the field before the race went green once again. Then you do have a gap between Justin Rogers and Jeff Sharp. Mark McFadden also out of the draft. And then you go back to Bob Skinner, who is with Johnny Michaelchek. And then Paul Zota, Joe Owen working on the back of the field right now, trying to maybe get an outside line going once again. Go back up front to Chris Samard, who is coming around to take his 29th lap lead here tonight. And Timothy Lewis right now pretty content running in that second position. Timothy was the Talladega winner earlier this year, so he does have some plate experience, and he will probably try to make a run late, as he knows that he doesn't need to lead them all, he just needs to lead one. And that outside line starting to form and starting to work for Joe Owen, as they are making their way through the field. Johnny Michaelchek has caught up to that pack as well, and he is going to try to get into the mix, but it doesn't look like he's got the distance quite yet to catch up to the 99 of Paul Zota and hook onto the back. And we do have 2 more takers to that outside line. It will be the 5 of Stephen Burnett and the 2 of Justin Kern. So Max Rev Motorsports will take the front lead of this 4-car battle up front, or on the outside line. And it does look like we have one more taker. That is the 48 of Adam Baker to the outside. So we do have a 5-car pack on that outside line. That is a 6-car pack on that outside line. And that is Adam Baker, David Howard Jr., Stephen Burnett, Justin Kern, Paul Zota, and Joe Owen. And we do have one more ticker on the back side of that. That was Chris Grosso looking to the outside, deciding to go back to the inside. Adam Baker now making that charge on the outside line, as he is going to go side by side with the 4 of Timothy Lewis for second. They are trying to make a charge. Timothy Lewis tried to get out there, but he is going to be too little too late, as Adam Baker now making the run on the outside line. He's going to pass up Timothy Lewis, and now he's got his sights set on Chris Samard, trying to get up front and lead his first lap of the night. As we're still seeing that 6-car pack on the top line. They're starting to separate a little bit. They got to get joined back together. Justin Kern has fallen off of Stephen Burnett. They're going to start to slow down, and that bottom line is going to start to get the run once again. And now Kurt Davidson looks to the top line. He's going to try to get a run. He is in front of Adam Baker now, as we have pretty much split the field, or split the pack, and now we are seeing the 24 of Joe Owen back to the inside to give the advantage back to the inside line. And we're starting to see that outside line fizzle out. With only 5 drivers up there, they are trying to make the run. But it does look like they are going to start to get passed up here. As now it looks like Justin Kern was looking for a spot down on the bottom. He will not get it. He'll stay up top, with teammate Stephen Burnett right in front of him. And Kurt Davidson, with a run on the outside, will take over the lead. Adam Baker currently sitting in second if he decides to drop to the bottom, but it doesn't look like he will just yet. David Howard Jr. trying to get up to him, and is that outside line going to get a run with Kurt Davidson falling back? It will be Adam Baker getting his first lap led here tonight. So Adam Baker from 7th to 1st, as he will jump in front of the 7 of Dave. Actually, that whole, almost that whole top line will move to 1, 2, 3. As now Adam Baker will gain his first PBR bonus point of the night. And we do have a wreck. And we'll have to see where that was, because that took out a good number of cars. And let's check to see where that wreck was. Take a look back once again. And it looked like it may have been in front of Justin Kern trying to get down. He will get clipped by the 4 of Timothy Lewis, and he goes for a ride. Joe Owen, Paul Zota, Joe Mitchell. Looks like the 51 of Paul Cohen also involved. And look at that. Chris Grosso will throttle down the car and get out of there with no damage. 51 of Paul Cohen involved. Keith Mayoto involved. Joe excuse me, Joe Owen had to tow it. Justin Kern had to tow. Doesn't look like Seth Hatchell was involved and Lynn McNeese wasn't involved. So really it was everything back from Keith Mayoto. Chris Grosso, of course, did not have any damage in that incident. So we'll look to see who comes out in front, as Adam Baker was able to gain 3 laps led. As next time around, they will be on the halfway point. And it looks like Stephen Burnett trying to get out front, and Burnett will take the lead on pit road. So Burnett from 3rd up to 1st. Baker from 1st to 2nd. Chris Samard from 5th to 3rd. And Bob Skinner. Where did Bob Skinner come from? Bob Skinner is up in 4th. David Howard Jr. from 2nd to 5th. Let's see. Bob Skinner from 11th to 4th once again here tonight. So we will take a quick step away from the mic, and we'll be back before these guys go back to green flag racing. But for now, let's ride along with Stephen Burnett. And we'll see that angle that they have, the 31 degrees of banking in the corners. And we do have some drivers out. Timothy Lewis, Joe Owen, Shane Bibla have also added to Jeff Glockner and Jim Locking. The drivers out here tonight. Justin Kern and Paul Zota sitting on pit road along with Joe Mitchell. And Keith Mayoto also on pit road. So these guys will have the 1 to go right now. And let's take a look at that top 5. And this is now getting to where we're going to start seeing these impressive moves. Stephen Burnett started 5th. He is up front. Bob Skinner from 14th to 2nd. Johnny Michaelchek from 16th up to 3rd. Chris Garoso from 17th to 4th. And Mark McFadden from 15th up into 5th. As we're starting to have more and more cars pull off of pit road. Keith Mayato, damaged car and all, still out on the track. Justin Rogers also in the process of catching the field, along with Kurt Davidson and Jeff Sharp. Adam Baker cycles from 1st back to 11th. Pace car now getting ready to dip off of into pit road as we are over halfway through this race here tonight. Stephen Burnett will gain his first bonus point of the night. Green flag is out. We're back to racing here at the iRacing Drivers World 90. And I think that bottom line may have found an issue, but they are going to get it fixed quick as Johnny Michaelchek moves to the bottom line. Chris Garoso up into 2nd now. Paul Cohen in 3rd, and Johnny Michaelchek in 4th. Bob Skinner now falling back to 5th. Garoso, the points leader. The last visit to Daytona, he won it. He is up front in 2nd right now. We do have one car on that outside line. It is the 49 of Jeff Sharp, and he's going to be joined by the 21 of Justin Rogers. But they have got some distance between the pack that they have there with the 101 of David Gainforth and the 41 of Kurt Davidson. We'll go back up front, though. Stephen Burnett leading some laps as he has gained his PBR bonus points of the night. A little bit of wiggle there as it looks like 51 of Paul Cohen looked to the outside line. He's going to pull it back in line in front of the 08 of Johnny Michaelchek. Kurt Davidson being patient. Lap 50 right now. They will have 40 to go at the stripe. So 50 laps in the books. 3 cautions tonight. Stephen Burnett has 6 laps led. The most laps led was by the 77 of Chris Samard, who has 36. Johnny Michaelchek dipped below that yellow line for a moment. But he will not stay out there. We do have a couple more cars back in the pack trying to go to that high line. It's not quite working. 84, Lynn McNeese now to the high line. And he's going to have the 77 of Chris Amard and the 7 of David Howard Jr. behind him. Then you also have the 21 of Justin Rogers filing in. And Lynn McNeese trying to get a push up to the front. He is in second, going side by side into one. And Garosa will take over second once again. How long can he hold on with that outside line starting to form? And it's going to dissolve quick now. The 7 of David Howard Jr. to the bottom line. And it doesn't look like he was able to hold it, as he's going to go back to the high line. But we are seeing that top line start to fall back, as we saw the 51 of Paul Cohen almost clear the 84 of Lynn McNeese. And now the 51, there's only 2 cars out there, the 84 of Lynn McNeese and the 77 of Chris Samard. Your last car on the lead lap is Keith Mayato, who's currently sitting in 15th. And he's got the pack coming up on him. Little bit of wiggle there by the 08 of Johnny Michaelchek. And caution is out. And I believe it was Lynn McNeese involved. We might have missed it. Let's take a look at it really quick. There it is. See if we can gonna let us back up a little bit more. I'm not sure what. There we go. Let's see what happened here. A little tap by the 08 of Johnny Michaelchek sends the 84 into the wall. Looks to be a single car incident, as he is able to move it, but he's got tons of damage. So Lynn McNeese was making a run towards the front. Will have his car beat up pretty bad. Does look like he's able to get up to speed. We'll see if he brings it back on the track or he calls it a night. And I imagine we see these guys bringing it down pit road once again. And here we go. They are coming down pit road. And we saw so many drivers who had started at the back of the field. And we're going to have a new leader here. Possibly. It does look like... Oh, no. We did have one person stay out. Adam Baker. So Adam Baker stays out. Joe Mitchell 9 laps down right behind him. But off pit road first, David Howard Jr. And let's see if we can get a word in with David Howard Jr. as he has moved up the field, starting 18th tonight, now sitting in 5th. And this is actually, or he's sitting in 2nd actually. And this is his highest placing here tonight. Let's see if we can get a word in with David. David Howard Jr., you got a copy?
Yes, sir. I got you.
Hey, this is Stephen Parks up in the PBR broadcasting booth. You've definitely moved through the field tonight, starting 18th, and right now after that pit stop, sitting in 2nd. How is the car feeling out there tonight?
It's feeling pretty awesome, man. If I can keep all 4 corners on it, man, it's pretty fast in the draft. I feel like we can move high, and if we can get a few cars, we can make some passes up there. So that's a good thing.
Now, we have seen you battling a lot up on the top side. Are you kind of liking it up there?
Yeah, I enjoy getting up there, man. I was kind of complaining earlier that these little cars tonight just aren't as racy as last night was, but man, we kind of got up there and got a few cars with us, and it seemed to change my mind on that. It seemed to really get after it up there. So hopefully we can do that late in the race, and hopefully we'll come out on top of this thing.
Now, we do know at super speedways, having a teammate with you is a big, important thing. Timothy Lewis, unfortunately, was involved in a wreck earlier tonight and took his car behind the wall. Do you see kind of any strategy working out? Have you worked anything out with any other drivers?
No, I just, I guess I got to hope for the best. And I know on that last lap, you know, if I am out front or close to it, I know I'll have to make myself as wide as possible. And there's no teammates when you get down to 2 or 3 to go anyway, man. So we'll just try to do the best we can. And if we can't, we'll try to push one of our friends to a win here. I got a lot of friends around me.
All right. Well, good luck to you, and hopefully we get to talk to you at the end of the race.
Hey, thanks a lot, Steve. Cool to talk to you.
Yep. Stay safe, man. All right. And that's David Howard Jr. currently running in 2nd. He is up from 18th, and he has got to be one of our hard BZ Designs hard charger candidates at this point. Not quite sure if he is the hard charger, but he's definitely made moves late in this race. And it does look like drivers have been given the 1 to go. We do still have 17 drivers on the track, as it looks like Glenn McNeese might have gone to the pits late. He's trying to get a little bit more damage fixed up on that car. So right now, Timothy Lewis, Justin Kern, Joe Owen, Paul Zoda, Shane Pipla, Jeff Glockner, Jim Locking, all off the track. And your top 5 right now belongs to Adam Baker, who started 7th, David Howard Jr., who started 18th, Stephen Burnett, who started 5th, Bob Skinner, who started 14th, and Chris Samard back in the top 5 after a bad pit stop. And for you Garoso fans, he is currently running in 9th. This year's Daytona 500 winner, battling in the back of the top 10. And I'm not quite sure what happened, but we may have lost 2 drivers. Adam Baker down on the apron, as he's going to come down to pit road. As the green goes out, that's going to leave David Howard Jr. a shot, but Stephen Burnett is going to get the lap lead. As that was a weird turn of events, we'll have to get a word in with Adam Baker to figure out what was going on, as he has dropped down and disconnected. So that'll give the lead back up to Stephen Burnett. And Chris Samard, who has led the most laps here tonight, is sitting in third. And if you want to take a look at the points championship, there it is. 1 point right now will separate the two. So it'll take it down to a 1 point battle in the championship. And neither of them do have bonus points here tonight. So one bonus point could mean a lot here. Go back up front though. Stephen Burnett coming to his 14th lap led, and to be honest, Chris Samard does not have this thing locked for the most laps led, as Stephen Burnett still has a shot to dethrone Chris Samard. So Chris Samard sitting in third. David Howard Jr. in second. Stephen Burnett in the lead. And we do have one driver taking it to the outside. That was the 41 of Kurt Davidson, as he's going to file back in behind the 51 of Paul Cohen. As they're going to go single file, and looks like we might try to run this thing green for the rest of the time here tonight. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to PBR Broadcasting, as next week we'll be bringing you the LDR Cup Series at Kentucky. So make sure to stay tuned and pay attention for next week's race live here on PBR Broadcasting. That is the 84 of Lynn McNeese, who the field is passing up. So that'll put Keith Mayato still on the lead lap. Let's take a look back at him, as the last caution may have saved him, as he was a lap down, got the lucky dog. He is still riding out there in 14th, trying to get as many points as he can here tonight. Adam Baker back on the track. Not sure what happened to him, but he is 4 laps down. We saw him pull off the track as the green was coming out. But right now, your top 5 in the championship, where do they sit here tonight? Well, let's take a look. Your points leader right now, Chris Grosso, currently in 5th, has made his way up the field. We do have one car jumping to the outside. That is Chris Samard. He's going to tuck it back in pretty quick, though. So, Chris Grosso is in 5th. Seth Hatchell in 4th. So, down to a 1 point lead for Chris Grosso. And then you go to Adam Baker, who's currently running 16th, 5 laps down. We did see him lead a lap, so he'll get a bonus point here tonight. But then you go to fourth, which is David Howard Jr. We talked about his 84 points back, and he is running great out here tonight. Running in second, had a shot at the lead, and if he keeps his cool, he has a shot at winning this thing tonight. And then you go back to Chris Samard, most laps led here tonight with 36 laps led. So he's trying to solidify his place in the top 5 because Bob Skinner, who was in the top 5 last week, is back on the track here tonight, running in 9th. And we do have a ticker to the outside. That is the 77 of Chris Samard. He's going to try to get a run with that outside line. And David Howard Jr. thought about it. They're going to dip it back in. That outside line right now consists of Chris Samard, Kurt Davidson, Paul Cohen, and Bob Skinner. Now, do we see David Howard Jr. jump to that high line, try to get a run with those guys up top, and lead his first lap of the night? And we are getting word from Paul Zoda. Adam Baker's connection dropped, and he pulled it off the track. He is back on the track. And right now, David Howard Jr., though, trying to look to that outside line. Is he going to have enough to get out in front and make a run with those guys, as he is staying behind Stephen Burnett? Something different. We haven't seen David really decide to stick to that bottom and not move. But we are going to be coming to the 20 to go this time around. As we are seeing the 09 of Keith Mayato going one lap down. Everybody's snapping a little bit loose there. The 08 is wiggling. That is Johnny Michaelcheck. And that top line starting to form once again, with Chris Samard making a push towards the front. And here we go, Chris Samard side by side with the 7 of David Howard Jr. And they're not going to have enough that time around, as they have fallen to a 3-car pack. I believe they lost the 82 of Bob Skinner, who went back to the inside line. And with 19 to go, things are going to heat up here, as Stephen Burnett getting close to Chris Samard's 36 laps led. And now that top line has dissolved to 2 cars. The 41 of Kurt Davidson and the 51 of Paul Cohen, and they're starting to get a run here. As now Chris Samard to that top line. It looked like David Howard Jr. attempted to make it out there. Chris Garoso goes up there as well. And I think with so many cars deciding to jump out there, we might see the shot put kind of happen with that top line. And there goes Chris Garoso back to that high line. And it looks like Chris Samard is going to decide to drop it back to the bottom with Chris Garoso. The 84 Lynn McNeese will drop it to the apron to let these guys pass. David Gainforth up top, going to let them pass as well. Now Chris Samard and Seth Hatchell to the top. This is going to make things interesting. There is a huge gap of space behind the top two guys of Stephen Burnett and David Gainforth. Chris Garoso will catch him pretty quick and try to get him moving. And the 51 of Paul Cohen dropping to the bottom. So Seth Hatchell side by side with Stephen Burnett. And now we're seeing that top line start to fall back once again. Kurt Davidson's going to fall back into the inside. And we're seeing a big push right now by that outside line of Seth Hatchell and Chris Samard, but it's not going to be enough. Stephen Burnett and David Howard Jr. are keeping first and second secured. Chris Garoso now up into third. "15 laps to go, going to 14 laps to go. And now Chris Samard to the inside. He's going to leave Seth Hatchell out to the outside by himself. That is a big points move, as he knows it is going down to those two. And we got the 08 of Johnny Michaelcheck spinning. And the caution will be out with 14 to go. And we'll take a look back to see what happened here with our fifth caution of the night. See if we can, there we go. We had a little issue there. We're going to take care of it though quick. And you see the 67 of Mark McFadden getting into the back of the 08 of Johnny Michaelcheck. And that was Bob Skinner also involved. And I believe Justin Rogers may have taken a little bit of damage in the process of that. See if we can take one more look back. Johnny Michaelcheck gets spun by the 67 of Mark McFadden. That's a tough break for Johnny Michaelcheck, who was making an impressive run early here today. And actually through the whole race, he was making an impressive run. And that's just plate racing for you right there. You never know when you might accidentally get clipped onto a driver. But right now, Stephen Burnett still up front, as he is coming to his 31st lap led. He gets 5 more, and he is tied with Chris Samard for the most laps led here tonight. So as these guys get ready to come down pit road, like we mentioned earlier, make sure to subscribe to PBR Broadcasting. Next week, these guys will be out at Kentucky, mile and a half racing once again. And it looked like there was a little bit of fake out to the pits. They are not coming down pit road. Stephen Burnett not even trying to fake him out. He is just going to stay out and stay strong. Let's see if we can get a word in with Stephen Burnett.
Going behind.
Stephen Burnett, you got a copy.
I got you, bud.
Hey, this is Stephen Parks up in the PBR broadcasting booth. It looks like you're having some fun out there tonight. How's the car feeling?
Oh, it feels great. The outside seems like it's starting to come in, so that's kind of worrying me a little bit. But all in all, we've had a good night. Started up in the top 5 and pretty much stayed up here.
Now, not to keep it on your mind, but it didn't look like you even thought about going to pit road. Were memories of the 500 coming back to you?
Unfortunately, yes. I talked with my teammate earlier about that, and we talked about the fuel strategies under green flag. The cautions have kind of helped with that a little bit, but I definitely didn't want the Daytona 500 happening again.
Now, are you at all worried about that high line coming into play late in this run?
A little bit. I think it's going to take a couple laps to get that high line going. You know, I got to do what I need to do to stay up front and keep those guys behind me.
All right. Well, you are leading this thing. You are coming close to putting on a battle for the most laps led here tonight, as well as right now you take your 32nd lap led. And right now, Chris Samar does have 36. So still got a shot at some more points. And most of all, you got a shot at the win. So stay safe out there, and hopefully we get to talk to you later on tonight.
Yes, sir. We'll do it, bud.
And that was Stephen Burnett, who has led 32 laps here tonight. Looking for his first win of the year, I believe. We will double check on that real quick. And to remind those who did not catch the Daytona 500, Burnett had an unfortunate pitting accident where he went onto pit road late in the race, came off, spun the car, and had to park it. And we are taking a look at the points right now to see where Burnett stacks. Burnett right now running 21st, does not have that first win of the year. Does have 2 top 5s and 5 top 10s. So he is still in search of his first win of the year. They do have 1 to go, or 1 to green right now on the track. As we have lined them back up for 10 laps, or we'll have 9 laps of racing here once we go back to green flag racing. And this will be lap 82 that we are coming to. Excuse me, they are on the backstretch now. Coming out of 2 onto the backstretch. And while we have a shot, let's take a look at the top 5. Burnett, who started 5th, is up front. David Howard Jr. started 18th and 2nd. Paul Cohen from 24th to 3rd is your hard charger at the moment. Chris Garoso from 17th to 4th. And Seth Hatchell from 9th to 5th. Let's take a look at the race. Oops. Let's take a look at the race summary. Stephen Burnett is your leader. 6 lead changes. Fastest lap of a 44.638 does belong to that belongs to Lynn McNeese, who took some damage earlier in this race. 5 cautions, 18 laps, and we're coming to 9 to go. As pace car has dipped off and green flag is out. And they're back off here at the iRacing World Drivers World 90 at Daytona International Speedway. And it does look like Stephen Burnett is going to get the pretty good jump off of the bottom. And he's going to have Chris Grosso following right behind him as Grosso is going to try for 2 in a row at Daytona. Kurt Davidson is going to file into third. David Howard Jr. stuck on the outside with the 51 of Paul Cohen. And now Howard Jr. is going to slip in front of the 77 of Chris Samard. The last one on that high line is the 51 of Paul Cohen. And now he has slipped back in. The 7 of David Howard Jr. to the outside. Is he going to stay out there? He does have a fender on the 41. We do have a 3-car battle up on the top line. That is now going to a 2-car battle. Seth Hatchell to the bottom. And if you're that 8-car, do you even work with the 77 of Chris Samard? Well, you do have to work with him because the points leader, Chris Grosso, right now is in second. No bonus points have come into play for those two yet. So right now, Chris Grosso out to a 4-point lead in the championship. Single file action with 7 to go. As the top 5 have now broken away from the 77 of Chris Samard. And who is going to peek out first? It will be the 7 of David Howard Jr., who's going to try to slip around the 8 of Seth Hatchell. And it doesn't look like he's going to work. He's going to slip back into the top 5 running there. And now Seth Hatchell looks to the outside. David Howard Jr. going to go with him. 3 versus 2. 3 on the bottom, 2 on the high side. Does David Howard Jr. slip back down to gain another spot? He is going to stay at. No, he's going to think about going to the bottom. But for now, he is staying high with Seth Hatchell. Five to go now, as now Stephen Burnett has taken over the most laps led here tonight. Now, David Howard Jr. to the bottom line. It was a 4-point lead for Chris Grosso, make it a 5-point lead. As now Seth Hatchell in trouble of losing that front packs draft. He's going to hook back up with the 77 of Chris Samard. Now both packs have combined. It does look like the 77 looked to that high side for a moment, but it didn't look like the 8 was going to go with them. And now he's trying to. The 77 of Chris Samard to the high line. And Kurt Davidson out there. Oh, a little bit of bumping as Stephen Burnett's trying to block the run by the 2 fields. As Chris Grosso looked to go high, made contact with the 5 and forces him back down to the bottom line. Kurt Davidson leading that second pack right now. And we are on 3 to go. Do we see Grosso maybe pop to the high side? No, Seth Hatchell will drop to the bottom. Lap car, damaged lap car, down low. Not moving up. He is going to go down to the apron and get out of the way for these guys. That is the 21 it looks to be of. The 21 of Justin Rogers. And now Kirk Davison gets cycled back to 7th. Two to go now for these guys. And this is where we're going to see guys jump to that high line and try to make a run. There goes David Howard Jr. Does he have any help? Seth Hatchell trying to hook onto the back of David Howard Jr. Joe Mitchell getting out of the way for these guys. It looked like Paul Cohen thought about it. He's going to drop back in. And we had a 5-point lead earlier for Chris Grosso. Make it a 3-point lead. David Howard Jr. getting cycled back through the field. He'll move back to 6th as he tries to hook on with the 77. White flag is out. One more lap. Chris Grosso to the high line. Stephen Burnett's going to try to block him. And we do have the 51 of Paul Cohen slipping through the field. He's going to knock off the 77. It's now down to Burnett, Grosso, or Hatchell. Grosso trying everything he's got to make a pass on the 5. The 5's trying to throw a block. Here we come, down to the line. Does Grosso have it? He's going to go side by side with Stephen Burnett, and he doesn't. Burnett will win the iRacing Drivers World 90 at Daytona. So there you have it. Your winner here tonight, getting his first win of the season. And we will step away for just one moment and be back with our driver interviews. And we are back with race winner Stephen Burnett. Stephen Burnett, do you have a copy? Well, after all the struggles you had earlier in the season, you finally get one here tonight. You start 5th, come away with the win. You also get the bonus points for most laps led. How does it feel?
The struggles our teams had this year to come away with a win, especially here at Daytona. I mean, it's great.
Now, what was going through your mind those last couple laps there?
Just trying to keep Chris behind me. I knew he was going to be quick, and I saw the cars trying to make it work on that outside, and As long as I could try to keep them close to the second place guy, I knew that I could get something going in the corners. And but there at the very end, I knew Chris was going to try something.
Now, we've raced Sonoma, a road course. We've done Daytona, a super speedway. Next week, we go to Kentucky, a mile and a half. How are you out there?
Kentucky's, I like Kentucky. It's a little bit different track. You got to be easy in, and it's a little different. It's bumpy. And if I remember correctly, you run that middle to high line. So I'm going to enjoy Kentucky when we go there.
But once again, you do start fifth tonight. You come away with the win, your first win this season in the SoMO Lazy Days Racing Cup Series, and you lead 43 laps. Who would you like to give a shout out to tonight?
Well, I got to thank Vider Energy for coming on this year. Jegs, the weekly racer, Corvette Parts, and my team, Max Rev Motorsports.
Well, congrats once again, and we hope to see you next week out at Kentucky.
Thank you, man.
Now we will get Chris Grosso in the booth. Find Chris real quick. Chris Grosso, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, you almost made it 2 in a row at Daytona, but you got to be happy with the second here tonight.
Yeah, we survived it. We started 17th and just kind of kept our nose clean and stayed with it there. And it was really fun there at the end. It was just you just needed somebody to help you to get around. It just you just didn't have enough on your own with the new setups to just kind of make that outside work.
Now, you guys did run the Daytona 500 at night. Did you notice anything different from earlier in the season to tonight?
I know we ran a lot of single file, but when we were double wide there, tire wear wasn't as much of a factor. The car seemed a lot more stable. You didn't see people on the bottom, kind of drifting up as much. That's one of the big things I noticed because we were kind of, thinking about tires and stuff, but it really didn't play much of a factor as far as, the outside getting the runs because the inside checks up and kind of wanders up.
Well, next week we head to Kentucky. It's a little bit different because we've gone road course, super speedway, and now we're at mile and a half. How are you at Kentucky?
Hopefully good. We've been pretty consistent. So, we've been just, plugging away. And as long as you kind of stay up front, you hope for another win or two. But, it's tough every week. We got a lot of good guys in here. And it's just, it's nice to be up on the box and just keep consistent. That's the most important thing as far as the championship, to just keep, getting those top fives.
Well, you do start 17th tonight. You come in with the second place, and you retain the points championship. Anybody you'd like to give a shout out to tonight?
Yeah, I just want to shout out to you guys for the broadcast. It's glad to have you guys back. And Eric Brilly and Lazy Days Racing, we had a good run last night. I missed him tonight for a little help, but shout out to them and all the teammates. My spotter Christopher Fowler, he's been on a little vacation, but he decided to come back for these races, and I think he brought the lucky horseshoe for this one again. So thanks to him, thanks to Nate Anderson, our car owner, and that's about it.
Well, congrats on your second place finish once again, and we hope to see you next week out at Kentucky.
Yes, sir. Thanks. I'll see you guys next week.
And now we'll go to our third place finisher, and it was Seth Hatchell. Let's see if we can get Seth Hatchell in here tonight. Do you have Seth Hatchell? Seth Hatchell, do you have a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, you had a pretty good run out there tonight, and you definitely gave Chris Grosso a run for his money. You start ninth, come away with a third. How was the car for you tonight?
It was pretty good. I was hoping we'd have a bit more green flag runs during this race so we get some green flag pit stops, so that'd help split up the field. But that's not how it worked tonight, and thankfully I was given a shot there at the end of the race to win.
Now, did you notice, did you prefer the high line? Did you just like to stay on the bottom line a little bit more? Did you see the top line really work any better now from when it did earlier in the season?
Not a whole lot. The one big problem with these cars is you can't really get to somebody's back bumper unless you have somebody behind you. So if you get a lot of cars on the top, you can really get it going, and it helps keep people spread out, and you can lay the pedal to the floor, but the bottom still usually is the quickest.
Now, next week, we've talked to the other guys about this. We've gone Sonoma, the road course. We've gone Daytona, Super Speedway. We're going to the mile and a halves. How are you at Kentucky?
I'd like to think pretty good. I've got a win there before. It's real bumpy. We haven't gotten the repave yet on the sim, so it's definitely a driver's track. You have to really pedal the throttle coming off the corners, make sure you don't lose it. So I think I should be pretty good.
All right. Well, you do start ninth tonight. You come away with a third place finish. Who would you like to give a shout out to?
I'd like to thank you, Stephen, for broadcasting these races. Got to thank my team, MV Motorsports, for bringing fast cars to the racetrack every week, and thank Paul for putting on this fantastic league.
Well, congrats on your third place finish once again, and we hope to see you next week out at Kentucky.
Sounds good. Thank you.
And that'll wrap up the race here tonight. We'll take a look at the results for the night. Stephen Burnett will come away with the win here tonight at the iRacing Drivers World 90 at Daytona International Speedway. Chris Garoso will come away with a close second place. Seth Hatchell will finish third and keep that gap from Chris Garoso down to 3 points. Chris Samard will finish fourth. David Howard Jr. will finish fifth. Paul Cohen will finish sixth tonight. He was your Hard Charger BZ Designs Hard Charger Award winner. Kurt Davidson will finish seventh. Jeff Sharp in eighth. David Gainforth in ninth. And Keith Mayato will finish 10th. Justin Rogers will finish 11th tonight. Lynn McNeese in 12th. Adam Baker with connection issues will finish 13th. Bob Skinner will finish 14th. Joe Mitchell will finish 15th. Johnny Michaelcheck will finish 16th tonight. Mark McFadden will finish 17th. Justin Kern in 18th. Timothy Lewis 19th. Paul Zoda rounding out your top 20. And at the back of the field was Joe Owen finishing 21st. Shane Pippola finishing 22nd. Jeff Glockner finishing 23rd. And Jim Locking rounding out your field in 24th. So with that, I'd like to thank the many sponsors that support Southern Motorsports, including iRacing Drivers World, O2 Dermaleaf, iRacing World, Cindy's Finds, Portside, Jaguar and Land Rover, Joe Owen Towing, Candles by Amy, Hardy's, CS Hobby, BZ Designs, and Lazy Days Racing. Thank you to Paul Zoda and Aaron Riley and Joe Mitchell for allowing Parks Brothers Broadcasting to bring you the race here tonight. Thank you for everyone at home watching, and make sure to subscribe to Parks Brothers Racing for your weekly Lazy Days Racing broadcast. And once again, let's take a look at this. Next week, we do head to Kentucky. Next Thursday night at 8:45 p.m. Eastern, we will be live once again here on Parks Brothers Broadcasting. So until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.